right, good afternoon. I hope everybody's Sunday is going good. I hope everybody's had a good week, had a good weekend, and just keep pushing forward. That's it. I haven't done a video in a little bit, so just let me, share something. So, listening to a pastor, I'm out here Amazon, and so I'm listening to a pastor and listening to a sermon. He's doing some teachings and things like that, and he starts to speak about spiritual intimacy. So, most of us, we just get so caught up in the physical aspect of things, because that's the fun one. That's the fun part. And those of us that, at one point or another may have thought that that was the only aspect that existed with intimacy, or at least, again, like I stated, the most important. It's just not true. It's just not true. And when you get older and you start to learn, let me pull over real quick, stop with the driving while I'm doing this. When you get older and you start to learn that, intimacy is much deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. There is the physical that we know about. There is the intellectual intimacy, that deals with planning the future. Where do I see us in 5 years? Where do I see this relationship going? How far can we go? There's the emotional aspect of it. That's the other thing I think is well known. That's the other intimacy I think most people are well versed in, because that's the sharing of like secrets and strengths and weaknesses and traumas and, things that we've been through in our past relationships. That's the emotional aspect of things. And then there's, in my opinion, one of the most important ones, because even before I got into my new relationship, not new now, but, and before I got into the relationship that I'm in now, I would always say, the person I deal with, I would always say I need to be equally yoked with them. We need to, because this needs to be a spiritual walk, and that we're both on, and that, God, Jesus Christ must be the foundation of what we have here. So I feel like I was kind of in that realm, but I know most people probably don't even think about that, the spiritual aspect, the spiritual intimacy of things, praying for each other, praying for one another, praying together, being equally yoked, crying out to the Lord together, praising him together. Those things are very important. So you see that there's 4, levels of intimacy here. And I loved how the pastor used this car analogy. And the car itself is the relationship, and the tires represent each level of intimacy. And we all know that, your car is supposed to run on 4, equally pressured tires. That just makes the car ride smooth, ride like it's brand new, and good tires, But we all know that when one tire is messed up, the car starts to ride a little rough. Your wheels start shaking a bit and all that type of stuff. And one tire is flat, then obviously you ain't going fast nowhere. You're going to be riding like 5 miles per hour. If one tire has to be taken off and put on a donut, then you lean into the side and the car is just not riding how it's supposed to ride. So I love the analogy that was given to show that, in order for your relationship to run smooth and go as far as it can, all of your tires need to be good. All of your tires need to be at its, at its best capacity. So therefore, in your relationship, if you expect your relationship to go far, you got to keep every aspect of intimacy in tune. You got to keep every aspect of intimacy at 100%. You got to always check on each other. You got to be on one accord, and your destination that y'all are going to has to be the same. I loved it. It was great. But like I always end these things, what do I know? Love y'all. Hope everything's good. Be easy, be safe.